Welcome to the Move Better podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by Eric Goodman, founder of Foundation Training. We dive into why so many people are living with unnecessary pain, how modern movement habits are breaking our bodies down, and the simple principles that can help you move better, feel better, and stay pain-free for life. Okay, so as we were mentioning before we started, the fitness industry is pretty much based around kind of bodybuilding and 70s era, kind of joint by joint, muscle by muscle bodybuilding trainings. How is foundation training different? How do you look at movement and the body and training and the way you think it should be done?
Great question. So the first idea of foundation training, something that literally was our slogan for many, many years, was I don't care what it looks like, it just feels good. And the idea with that is I teach a sensation of feeling strong, a sensation of feeling connected, of integrating muscles head to toe, of feeling like your body is distributing its weight as just as well as it possibly can in any given position. And in doing that, we're not bodybuilding at all. We're helping with balance, we're helping with coordination, we're helping with strength, even endurance in some ways because of the muscular efficiencies that come into play holding these poses. But the fitness industry is looking at you can pop your head into kind of any curtain you want to. And if you're looking at the look at me, the wellness or strength or fitness influencers out there, yeah, it looks a lot like bodybuilding. And there's even entire systems built around like integrating the body into a then bodybuilding type position or pose that hits a certain aesthetic, which is cool. Great. Wonderful. I don't have a bodybuilding body. I don't take any hormones. I don't take peptides. I don't even really take supplements. I just like to train, but my training is like hiking and surfing and paddling and snowboarding. And then, I've got my pull-up bar, and I've got, a reverse hyperextension machine, and I've got a great sauna. Those are the things that I pay more attention to personally. And I genuinely believe, not that my perspective has any unique value, but a lot of people in the fitness industry are starting to realize that recovery, especially as you're hitting your late 30s into 40s into 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, the ratio of work to recovery has to simply balance out far better for your body to stay efficient. And bodybuilding doesn't do that very well. Bodybuilding is based on the idea of breakdown, build up, breakdown, build up, breakdown, build up. And not only that, but overfeed the body very often for a certain look that doesn't take the health of the organs entirely into account. And that's okay. Some people choose that. It's just not what I teach. It's not the basis of my work, which is pain relief. The entire reason that foundation training exists is because pain is terrible, very often unnecessary, and even very often to that caused by the individual experiencing the pain to themselves. So I teach people very simple patterns and isometrics and breathing exercises and gait patterning and vectors of pull and places to feel the pulls within the body. And you put it together to some pretty challenging positions that are all body weight. It's not bodybuilding at all, but it does make you very strong without question. But our entry point into the wellness and fitness world is pain relief in foundation training for sure. We just happen to be decent at performance as well.
Yeah, well, I think it all ties in, doesn't it? If you can move your body well and it's functioning the way it's supposed to, everything's kind of in the correct position for optimal kind of
Yeah.
mobility, it kind of all performance and pain relief are kind of in the same boat.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. They literally follow the same neural pathways. It's actually something I'm surprised is not spoken about so frequently. There's a front end of your spinal cord that is responsible for propulsion and movement and ambulation and output. And then there's a back region, a posterior cord of the spinal cord, a posterior half, the gray matter and different things like that, that's responsible for input. We literally have an AV out, AV in. And with that comes a pretty obvious understanding of most chronic pains and most chronic weaknesses having a direct conjunction and correlation. Areas of your body that are weak because of lack of use or potentially even not getting very good blood flow because of breath patterns or patterns you've rested into. So certain end ranges of a tendon or of a ligament or of a muscle might not be getting enough adequate oxygen at different times of the day. That can be mitigated by understanding how you make a muscle strong. with the angles of strength, the angles of resistance that make that tissue expand. If you work through and sort of reverse engineer how to make that tissue eccentrically load, you're very likely opening and clearing space within that nerve path.
Excellent. So when people have got pain, obviously one thing that people always tend to do is if they've got pain in one area, they fixate on that area. Where do you stand with regards to, if you've got knee pain, chances are it could be coming from your ankle or your hip or, the feet as our foundation, everything builds up off of that. If the feet aren't functioning properly or in the right position or strong enough, I mean, where do you stand on that? Do you feel that pain is kind of isolated in the area where you feel it or a result of other things out of whack further down the line?
Yeah, it can absolutely be both of those all the time. Very frequently, you can see both examples of both of those very readily. In most cases, the one that is felt regionally, like I have knee pain, it's caused by my knee, something happened to my knee. It's usually a response to an injury. It's usually you hit it, you scar tissued something there. You had whatever, you have a rupture, a tear, a joint on joint, a lack of cartilage, a, a meniscus went bye, something like that occurred. But it's a blunt force typically in some way, shape, or form, or a shearing force. And it's usually a soft tissue, connective tissue injury, as opposed to a muscle pattern weakness or movement pattern weakness that ends up delivering forces through that region, which is the opposite. That's when the pain is felt at the knee, but it has nothing to do with the knee. The knee's just an in-betweener, and it's right in between the hips and the spine and the feet. And there's a lot going on in both those areas. So very often the knee is an in-between innocent bystander who is experiencing pain as a result of a twist above or a twist below, or a front edge weight distribution, or a back edge weight distribution, or a shoulders and head forward weight distribution. And all this changes how the joints below operate. So 50-50, because we get hit and we twist and we torque a lot, and we're wearing shoes very often that don't give us a traditional ground force reaction that our body is ready, especially in a pivot and rotation or a slowdown and rotation. And that's when we get shearing forces. So there's nothing wrong with any of these things. I don't villainize anything other than lack of understanding how to improve your situation. So that's why I created this. Like, this is how to improve the twist and turn injuries, the referral injuries up or downstream from where things are actually occurring or sensed. So 50-50. It's literally, and I've been doing this. I started foundation training in 2008 and I graduated chiropractic school in 2008. By 2009, I was working on this idea of, but if you pull it all away from the center, everything kind of improves. Meaning the center of your pelvis is kind of where you feel all this stuff, maybe a little bit above it at L4, L5, S1, maybe a little bit below it at the piriformis, maybe a little bit below that at the, an IT band related issue down to the knee or foot. What if you just pulled everything away from center? And the first couple of years of FT, you literally see these big open chain movements, just arms out like this, like a well-held pandiculation, pulling the hips and hands away from each other with almost no other thought to it than tension the posterior chain to the best of your ability. What I've sort of learned along this process is it's not just about pulling away from center, much more so it's actually about, as you pull away the limbs, you kind of rotate the proximal limbs back to their original neutral. And a proximal limb is one that connects directly to the torso or pelvis. It's the closest to the midline of the body. So distal, proximal. I want to make the change at my proximal limb. As I'm pulling apart, I'm also externally rotating at the shoulders. As I'm trying to pull the base of my pelvis down towards my feet, pulling away from center, I'm rotating my hip joints in to correct for what almost everybody does, which is rotate them out, turn the feet out, and rest into them. So every bit of foundation training is based on that idea. Fix the primary rotation discrepancy at the shoulders, neck, and torso. Fix the primary rotation discrepancy where the femur and the pelvis meet. And in doing so, you get pretty strong. It feels really good. It's pretty nice.
So what would you say the biggest mistake people usually make when they're trying to fix their pain? Is it that, they're not looking at the body holistically?
Squeezing your shoulder blades together. That's the one. Squeezing your shoulder blades together, sticking your chest out, stopping the big half of the lung behind you from inflating well. stopping the very important 12 vertebral joints of the thoracic spine from having the space they need for the bucket handle movement of the rib cage during inflation and exhalation. That's so important that it's more important than anything else in the body, because breathing well can fix everything.
Yeah.
Standing well, holding yourself well can improve breathing to the point that you begin breathing really well. So the scaffolding that we have around our body, which is the skeleton, the organs of the body, the skeleton holds it together and gives it safety and movement. That scaffolding can really be manipulated remarkably. And it's not pushing the envelope, it's repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. It's eroding away old patterns. And erosion takes a lifetime of anything, and it keeps going. So it's this like active process of adaptation. I gave a TED talk in 2011 when those were popular. And I gave it on the idea that there was unexpected consequences of technology development. And those unexpected consequences occur in the physiology of the user, adapting to these converging, tightening screens. And in that, I talked about people having the ability to take real charge, and I called it active adaptation away from complacent adaptation. The processes of complacently adapting, because no matter what you do, the erosion of life is occurring in a good or a bad way. Things are changing at all times. If you actively adapt through that, if you kind of pay attention to direction and you kind of practice a couple things every day that improve your situation, you erode rather well.
The body's a pretty remarkable thing. If it's in the position it's supposed to be in and given what it needs, it can build and repair
Yeah,
at any age,
principle of
really.
chiropractic, principle of osteopathic medicine. The body wants to return to health. We need to get out of the way of its ability to do so, very often physically, very often mentally. That's why there's so many fields in physical medicine and mental health and all of those things.
So when you work with people, and obviously you've got lots of people, I presume, online on the app, what would you say is the most common problem, and what would you say is the most common cause of that problem? Is it the seated, hunched over, staring at your phone postures for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, or is it other stuff?
Less than the physical structure of the posture, it's the muscles in which that weight is held. So most people are butt squeezers, meaning every time they go forward a little bit and like look forward or round forward, they reciprocate that weight by squeezing their butt muscles, which is fine vertically to a degree, but it becomes very problematic because as you pitch forward, there is a natural hinge mechanism that has to allow hinging to happen. Like the glutes have to literally go from short to long for a hip hinge to occur. And if you're squeezing them, you can't do that. So your spine becomes the movement vector, or I'm sorry, the movement point, the movement structure. It's no longer a fulcrum of nice hinge motion at the hips. It's a compression of a lordotic curve of the lumbar spine, learning to straighten and then even more so wedge the front edges of that vertebra and start to tighten the front edges of those vertebra. Oftentimes, as a response to tightening the front edge, there's this reflex of, and that's when we catch a disc herniation. There's your body is avoiding this. You're mountain biking and you're about to go over the handlebars from the front brake. And then there's this hips reaction. And in order for that hips back reaction to occur, the glutes must be relaxed enough to give length. If they are not, that hip back reflex will occur at the L5S1 spinal joint. And it is the most common degeneration and disc herniation point in the body because of that response. If the glutes are squeezed when your body is trying to get the hips back, it will make that shortening occur. And I know that because mine did it for so many years that it truly injured my spine so bad that I had to literally, I mean, I'm 45, I'll be 46. It's been almost 20 years that I started developing this program, and it's still being developed. It is a literal lifelong commitment to manage an injured spine well, but it is also really doable, really manageable, remarkably so. You can take a pretty messed up spine and feel 95 to 98% of the time very well physically, and have a 3 to 5%, 2 to 5% of your lifetime, daytime waking hours where you're like, hang on, I gotta move a little bit. okay, I know how to do this. I'm going to relax the adductor so that that stops pulling on my right hip so hard, stops pulling on my right SI joint so hard. I'm going to stretch this way or that to it accordingly. You respond to what just happened with the knowledge that you've gained of how to manage your back injury. And that is never with a pill, never with a potion, never even with a cream. It is with physical structural load displacement in a better place.
Yeah. I think put too many people are going straight for the pills rather than trying to address the cause of it. I mean,
It's honestly
yeah,
a personality type. There are types of I've learned this the hard way as well. There are certain people that will never you can lead a horse to water and can't make them drink. They can have all the info in the world and they're going to take that pill every time. They're going to get that surgery every time, even if it's
quick,
multiple.
easy.
And that's again, that's okay. That's I totally get why they do that. It is a pain in the ass to train as much as you have to manage back pain. Truly,
Yeah.
it's a life decision, a true commitment that I'm going to physically do this instead of always sort of having to have somebody react for me.
Yeah. I mean, I've suffered back pain myself. I mean, I broke my coccyx probably 20 years ago. And then off the
Wow,
back of that, my lower back during when I
you
was,
do that.
I found a pair of skates in the loft that
Oh, and
I'd used
ski
to
out
use.
from
And then I
under you.
decided to go and kind of drop in off a half pipe and my feet went up, my ass went down. And yeah, I dropped probably 10 or 12 feet and landed on my coccyx. So broke my
Oh,
coccyx and my
oh.
lower back kind of ever since then
You do a lot of
intermittently.
inversion. Do you do some inversion, just hanging therapy?
Yeah, I've got an inversion table. I've got some boots.
Good, good.
I do a lot of kind of try and do some decompression work.
Headstands or handstands?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Keep
I mean,
doing those
I'm a
all the time.
big advocate of body weight work. So I'm
Great.
animal flow coach. I love that.
You're an animal flow coach.
Yeah,
Very cool. Okay, so you get a lot of this. So Animal Flow, GMB with Ryan Hurst, MoveNat, a lot of those really strong original programs that have been around for quite some time now. A lot of we share a number of instructors, not share, but a lot have been educated in my world. A lot have been educated in their world by Ryan. I believe it's Mike. I don't know Mike personally. I know Ryan real well. From Animal Flow, Mike Fitch, I haven't met, but there's a lot of respect for the work around the community. And I think there's just like a lot of people learning that all of them work really well together. We are all an accessory
yeah,
program to a healthy lifestyle and balanced strength. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot more collaboration. I would love to see a collaborative program between like us with foundation training, GMB, Animal Flow, and like Perry Nicholson, Stop Chasing Pain. So it was like pain relief, lymph health, and then really powerful overall movement systems as
yeah.
well.
I think people are starting to realize that you can't patent a movement. The human body has got infinite
No,
movement
you can't. You
patterns. You
literally
you
can't.
can't say this was ours.
Because you can name a system, you can
Yeah,
name a process, and you can put it out in a book, or you can put it out in ways to trademark it, and you can create ways that people can't steal your name.
yeah,
But I can't tell you how many times people steal your intellectual property. And they steal it, and stealing's not the right word. Like, it's not the right word. It's the right word when they take it, pretend it's not yours, and try to make money off of it. But
yeah,
when they take it and they add it to an otherwise good system, and they're like, "Oh, check, by the way, this is a principle of foundation training that I love introducing into this." That's flattery. That's great. That's cool.
yeah,
And you see it from other things. You see it from there's many systems will interplay, and many systems teach very similar things with different intentions, different perspectives, different styles of teaching. Foundation training is very unique. There is nothing else like foundation training. There is a hip hinge, which is similar to one of our poses in the founder, but we have 31 unique bodyweight poses that really aren't seen in other systems outside of principles of ours that are very much seen in other systems like Goata. A lot of David Weck's work includes a lot of foundation training principles. As he says, I found X on the map, but so did he. So everything's fair game.
well, this thing is hard
They
to
love
see.
me, my friends. I like David a lot, and I think he's one of the most fun personalities in our entire field.
Yeah,
And
and
he's
I think
he's a badass for standing up what he believes in constantly. Like I got to
yeah,
give credit. The guy stands up hard for what he believes in.
yeah, and I like that he'll happily say, this is from over here. This works if you want to do it this way. That works. And I think we need more people collaborating and putting their heads together rather than kind of slagging each other off, going, "Oh, that's it. says
There are
this. It's just,
people in the field that are truly aggressively mean. Navi Aguilar is aggressively mean. I don't like that. There's no, and by the way, didn't become a doctor, didn't go to like graduate school, thinks instead that, if he's loud enough, people will listen. And it's like, yeah, you'll get people to listen, but nobody's going to pay attention except
yeah.
for the one group that's listening that is going to isolate themselves from everybody else. Great job.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
there's
I don't
actually quite a
believe
lot I like about functional patterns, but the way he
the
across
movements
can
are
be.
wonderful.
Yeah.
The movements of functional patterns are wonderful. I actually don't believe many people, if it weren't for the aggressive marketing style that they have chosen, which is to piss everybody off, I believe people would really like their system.
Yeah. I think with a few little
But I think
tweaks.
you can be so lame that no matter how good your work is, only the people that like that, like, yeah, we're the best. Yeah, fuck everybody else. Yeah, that's your crew. Congratulations, guys
Yeah.
and girls and whatever. Like, that's not the crew I want to be in or have around
No.
or network with or collaborate with or anything. But there are so many people in our field that are nothing like that, and occasionally maybe get pulled into that arena because they're defending themselves. Or I saw Paul Chek recently defending his self. Paul Chek should not waste 1 second on somebody arguing his remarkable contributions to the fitness industry.
I think he's
No,
earned his stripes. He hasn't got
that's what I'm
to
saying.
defend himself to anyone.
He should never. I saw he was defending himself, and I'm just like, no, no, don't you're so
Yeah.
much bigger than that, man. You don't need these guys. You don't need these guys. You got so many people that respect your stuff. So, anyways, I don't really enjoy seeing that part of it. I've actually started to kind of poke fun a little bit at that element of the fitness industry because it's really not present in the health industry. It's in the fitness industry. The health industry is a much more respectful industry, even though there is some stealing back and forth. People borrow this and that, but like it's a more collaborative, more respectful industry because in health, you need peers to respect your work in order for it to thrive. So you have to be a relatively respectful member of society in order for that to happen. And in the fitness industry, it's so interesting because there's a lot of high level disrespect just for the sake of it. Like you're watching professional wrestling. It's like just to be, one's a heel, one's not,
Yeah.
this person is trying to aggravate and agitate. And it's just, if you step back a moment, you can see the play of it. You
I
can
think a
see
lot of it's the TikTok generation. They're doing it for the controversy and
yeah, but
just
even
to get the
it is more
reactions.
so in fitness and strength than it is in medicine and in pain relief. I just having kind of watched both of those for now about 20 years. It's clear in both, but there is a certain respect for the work that is put in the wellness industry or in the health industry, I would say. Whereas in the fitness industry, it's just like, what do you look like? How much can you do? How bad, and it's just like, that's such a short-term metric.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's all aesthetic based. My
Yeah.
philosophy is, it's the Move Better podcast. I want people to move better and feel
Yeah.
better. And by that, in that respect, you're going to perform better mentally
You're
and
going to live better.
physically. I mean, you were saying about people struggle with that hinge. Obviously, I'm a big fan of kettlebells, and I know, I mean, even before when I was teaching, I don't use them much anymore, but squats and deadlifts,
Mhm.
people struggle these days just with a hinge,
Yes,
that
they
that
cannot let
hinge
their
rather
hips
than
go behind.
rounding.
They literally don't want their hips to go, or they want their hips to go behind them, but they have not learned how to release the hips behind them. And the idea of releasing is like, no, no, that's good. No, that's how you don't get hurt. Is the eccentric load of the glutes and the adductors and the hamstrings as your hips go back in a squat or a deadlift or anything like that. It is the spring loading that protects you because the spring loading, the eccentric portion that teaches your propulsion pattern. And as people understand that better, and strong people understand that, no question. It's people that kind of try to go get strong a little too fast, and it's people that don't take a moment to replenish their movement patterns before they go into strength. So literally, like going and doing you go to the gym and you stretch, but your warm up is you jump on a treadmill or a bike, especially like a stationary bike for 10 minutes, and then you go train heavy. You haven't expanded any from a day of sitting and relaxing. So taking 5-10 minutes and expanding. We teach decompression breathing, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. We put it into poses that challenge mostly the posterior chain. There are animal flow for 5-10 minutes would be a wonderful warm up. GMB
Yeah.
for 5 would be a wonderful warm. Yeah. Any of those are good.
Yeah. I think anything that gets the body moving in natural way and multiple different ways. Like I said, as you
Yeah.
said, 5 minutes on a treadmill, it's the pulse raiser that we're taught, it get the heart rate up, get the body temperature up, but it's not preparing your body for what you're about to do. So yeah,
No,
so
you gotta train absorption. A warm up should be training absorption. Heat, it should increase heat enough to increase blood flow and oxygen delivery. It should pace your heart rate and your lungs toward more exertion, but not really heavy exertion. And it should make your body an absorption machine as far as force distribution. Once you're warmed up, you feel ready.
yeah, that is literally what warm up is for, isn't it?
And so
People
many people don't do that. Most people don't
This
do
is
that.
yeah. Again, I think people when they think of the gym, they think of the rows of machines, they think bodybuilding, they think 5 minutes on a treadmill, go and lift some weights,
Mhm.
cardio separately or after, and they don't think about all the other ways the body
That
can and should move.
that works too. That will get you strong and fit, and it will get you looking good, and it will burn calories and it will give you good stress relief. You got to add in some whole body distribution
Yeah,
work. You don't have to change what you do at the gym. You don't have to change anything. That's a great recipe. You just have to add a little bit of whole body from a calisthenics standpoint and from a neural pathway space allocation, meaning enough room for nerves to reach muscles to support the body as needed.
yeah. I totally agree because I mean I get a lot of flack for this when I talk about squat, bench, deadlift, and bodybuilding, and saying it's not optimal for moving well. I get a lot of stick, but I think it's just a case of people have got to understand if that's the bulk of your training, there is going to be some trade off to that. I mean, we know it works because for 50 years people have been getting good results from it, like aesthetic wise, but also they're breaking down their body a lot of them. They look good, they don't move well,
Mhm.
they don't feel good. So I get a lot of stick for what I say about that kind of training. But again, the point is you need
Say
to
what you want.
that's it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I can defend my opinion, but it's just the case you need to integrate some movement within that.
You got to
If
do
you
a
do
little
your
more.
bodybuilding, but do 10 minutes of rope flow at the end
Exactly.
or
Just
at the
do a little
start.
bit more. Yeah, rope flow is a great integration. Great whole body neural pattern rhythmic integration that loosens you up through activation. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. I love it. I had Ed Troyes on a couple of weeks ago as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
very good.
fantastic as well. I'm seeing a lot. I mean, social media is a great thing, and I don't know if it's just my algorithm or if there is a lot more of it about. But there's a lot of stuff more recently about breath work and fascia. I know breath's a big thing for you. Do you think that's kind of starting to become more mainstream, or is that just my algorithm?
I think people are noticing, but breath work has been mainstream way before strength training was mainstream. Way before. Breath work was the mechanism of improvement that humans used for most of human civilization. It's what they had. They didn't bodybuilding and strength training in gyms, that's a century old.
Yeah,
That is such a new technology in human existence. And we're still figuring that out, as you can see from the myriad of systems out there that all help in some ways and might hurt in other ways. The body is a very challenging thing to understand. So yeah, I think that breath work, I think people are catching on and people can make a little money from it. And people are doing apps and stuff like that. And you don't need a big education to become a breath work person or a movement person. I think it doesn't matter as long as you really take experience seriously and you really take learning seriously, but not everybody does. So it's an easy entry point for a lot of people. That's why it's popular. It's not popular. It's not popular because all of a sudden people figured out that breathing through certain efficiencies helps. And it's not because Wim Hof all of a sudden became famous on Instagram and even though his system's wonderful, the Wim Hof method is great, but it's controlled hyperventilation. And before that, it was something else. And before that, it was something else. And in yoga, it's this. And there's so many breath work ideas in every culture at the root of their spiritual anchor.
yeah,
No, it's not taking hold now. It's had hold
yeah.
of human civilization well
Yeah,
before social media.
I just think a lot of people nowadays just they kind of assume because they're still alive they've nailed it. They're breathing right.
You know
But I
what the
know I
difference
know
is?
yoga originally was
Yeah.
about breathing. It wasn't about poses. It was about breath work. But I think we've kind of lost it, and it's kind of starting to come back
I think
round
what
again.
what the change is, honestly, is we're spending so much time anxiously looking at phones that we need breath work a lot more. And it's maybe becoming more valuable to us, which is why there is this idea that it's reemerging. Maybe that's what happens every time. Maybe civilizations go up and down, and as they're in the decline, people are like, "Oh, hang on, this really helps everybody. Shit, things are getting pretty rough. You better start breathing better."
Stop punching over your phone. Stand up. It feels good.
It's I think that technology is a delivery system for information, and information is mostly used to help people. Initially, probably to enrich individuals, and then eventually to help people. And we're just in this phase right now where the world has a lot of people uncomfortable and panicking for very valid reasons. And breath work is the fastest, safest, probably most effective long term approach to managing that.
Yeah.
By the way, foundation training breath work stresses you out. For anybody, like, I don't teach relaxing breath work. I do decompression breathing. It's literally intentionally stimulating your sympathetic nervous system. We're doing something called hormesis, making your rib cage and your stress system better at absorbing, physically absorbing the sensations of stress and then exhaling them intently. So ours is all about frame and structure, not
Yeah.
about stress relief. I am not a spiritual teacher in any way, shape, or form. I am posture, frame, structure, strength.
Yeah.
And that's what our breathing does. So
That's it.
sorry, I just wanted to make sure people understood that.
No, that's good. See, I was going to ask, just if you had to narrow it down, what are kind of the daily habits, the things that people are doing that are keeping them in pain, and then what are some,
Sugar.
some simple things they can do at home off the back of this episode to kind of help start to alleviate that or start to kind of fix things.
Sugar should be used to fuel what you're doing, not to reward what you're doing. Meaning it's fine as long as you use it, but excess becomes problematic for a lot of people, especially people with chronic pain. There's a very interesting book out there called Sugar Crush, which is all about how fructose and glucose and different sugars heavily impact and irritate nerve linings and nerve ends. It's a very interesting philosophy written by an MD. I can't remember their name, but Sugar Crush is one to look at if you want to understand kind of this theory of sugar creating and inducing a higher sensation to pain. You are more sensitive to pain, plain and simple. It's the opposite of anesthetizing you. Outside of sugar, I would say that it is not looking at big distant views for most of your day. If you're here, eventually your suboccipital triangle is going to tighten up. Eventually you're going to go a little too long here. Eventually this is going to drop out of the way of tension because this is no longer helping to support it. That becomes very painful. That creates a series of weight distribution problems from the mid back to the low back to the hips to the ankles and knees. So from a positional thing, it's looking closer and closer and closer until you physically conform to that.
Yeah. 'Cause what's the rule? Is it like for every centimeter or every inch forward of center your head is, it adds like 20
A
pounds of
lot,
stress or something? It's a lot. It adds up
a
quick, doesn't
lot.
it? So for people that are kind of hunched over all day, yeah.
A favorite cue that I give very often in the programs I teach is breathe as if the world smells terribly in front of you.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, ugh, and just walk around like things stink a little bit if you're trying to correct a pain or a sensation. Don't
Yeah.
overdo it, don't lean back, but just get the head and neck away from what's in front of you.
Yeah. I try and teach that when I say give yourself a double chin, people like
So
it. Neck back
instead
into
of
the collar.
instead of a double chin, try to just keep your finger here, but lift the occiput, the
Yeah.
base of the skull, that right there. So both of them are you want tension at this here. You want that myohyoid muscle to really feel tension because it's your airway. You want to keep your airway stable even as the neck comes back, as opposed to closing it on top
Yeah.
of the leg. Just something that I try to give that cue very often, that the weight of the head entirely should be held straight up,
Yeah.
front and back. And when you get there, it's this immediate transverse abdomen contraction that helps to support it.
Yeah. I always tell people neck back into the collar and string from the crown of the head, and it tends to stand people up. So what's a couple of basic things people could practice now? I mean, I know you've got some great stuff on
Yeah,
Instagram and YouTube and stuff. Like what are
we
a
have. I
couple of
love when
exercises?
I mean, I'd like for everybody to go and check out my streaming site and check it. We have books. I've written 3 books on foundation training beginning in 2011, and I've put one out pretty much every 5 years since then. I'll have another one coming out pretty soon. The books are very valuable is from a learn how your body works and how to fix your back pain, hip pain, neck pain. The app, ftstreaming.com, has over 1,000 routines, including countless pain protocols: regional back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, foot and ankle pain. those branch off into protocols. There's not a couple exercises to try. If you want, you can go to my YouTube by all means. We have a very popular YouTube page. Try one of my 12-minute videos. They're very well practiced and well
Yep.
received. They've got millions of people or millions of views from people that have used them over the years. And they continue to be sort of like an anchor to the foundation training community, and they're free. So it's a really easy way to try.
Yeah.
And then for people that want to get heavy into teaching this, I have certifications. We've been certifying instructors since 2012, got over 1,500 instructors around the world. And that is something that we just continue getting better at. So try it, but don't try it a little bit. Like if you're trying to fix yourself, there's many, many recipes that you could use in the foundation training world.
Yeah.
Start with YouTube. It's free. It's easy. If you like reading, grab one of the books. If you get really serious into it, app or certification or working with an instructor.
Yeah. I mean, even just things like the founder and the 8-point plank. Like when I get people doing those, they struggle. But
Yeah,
people are so
it's just
used to
nobody
doing
knows.
the
Yeah, I
they're
want
so
them to
used to
learn.
doing the arched, unsupported planks
Yeah,
just for as long as they possibly can. If you
an
get them doing it
8-point plank.
properly for 20 seconds, they're like,
Yeah, an 8-point plank done well should be among the hardest planks you've ever done.
yeah.
Definitely. If you're doing it correctly, it should feel completely different, much more integrated, and much more difficult, shaking the whole time
Yeah,
you do it.
I think I was taught that years ago. I don't know if it was Strong First or RKC or something like that, but they talked like the hard style plank, and it was like that plank was
Mhm.
20 seconds and you're done.
But yeah, when
It's
they're on
not,
a
can you be there for 10 minutes?
pulling, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all about pulling, not pushing when you're planking well.
perfect. Okay, so just to finish up, I know you've got a new product coming
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Did you want to have a just tell us about that?
Yeah, let me show you this. I'm excited for these. So for the past 3+ years, I've been working on developing these. This is a just above the calf compression sock that is also a wearable orthotic. It's called Track Groundwear. We are launching this May 19th, and you can go to TRAK groundwear.com. That's the website. And I think the social media is now up. So I think there's at Track Groundwear on Instagram or whatever as well. But we have built, is me and this really interesting product engineer, mechanical engineer, we've built 15 different compression and resistance spirals and reciprocal activation points into this. And what it does is it activates and supports the arch eccentrically by the tension held in the dorsiflexion fabric. It helps you dorsiflex more fully, rotates the tibia gently inward with every dorsiflexion, allowing that more full tibialis anterior contraction. And the more complete tibialis anterior contraction stimulates better posterior chain loading and spring loading, and therefore contraction and activation. So we've tested them and we are seeing improved balance immediately. We're going to test for much more long-term stuff. We have a really great relationship with the University of Central Florida School of Physical Therapy, who's doing research for both foundation training and for track groundwear. And these will be legitimately, researched and evidence-based compression socks that will make it so that you don't need to wear an insole, don't need to wear an orthotic, and support your foot enough that it can mitigate not end stage feet don't work, but pretty significant foot problems, and not only mitigate it, but teach the foot how it is meant to hold itself. When you're taking steps, when you're wearing these, it goes, as you're walking, it very naturally begins to go heel, small toe, big toe, heel, small toe, this really nice patterning of walking that helps to fix your gait pattern. So this ultimately becomes like a wearable training device, and whatever, you can wear it in different shoes. We built these for first responders and military that wear boots all the time, so their foot would be more active within the boots. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. So check out Track Groundwear. I'm really excited for people to get these. And this is our first product, and it's actually going to become or it's in the process of becoming both this compression sock like this and a fastening system that can be built into any wearable shoe.
Excellent.
So we're going to get there. Yeah.
So is the idea wearing that when you're training or kind of
Anytime.
all
The
day?
idea would be anytime, especially when you're like working at a standing desk or you're sitting. The way it eccentrically loads the calves and soleus, not a lot, but a little bit. And that little bit of it has this kind of spiraling barber pole rotation that offloads the soleus a good bit. And that's your body's second heart. That's the part of the body that really helps blood flow, really helps, especially the passive venous return. So we're trying to make a bit of an improvement there with lymph flow, blood flow. So in an office, when you're walking, when you're doing whatever, it should be able to be worn more or less whenever.
Yeah. So would you say it's kind of a bridge between an orthotic and just strengthening the feet? Because I've always had a bit
Yeah.
of an issue with the orthotics, because it's kind of once that's
Me
in,
too.
those muscles don't need to do anything. They don't need to get
Yeah.
stronger. So that's literally training your body, your feet
Yeah.
to
It
do what
gives
they
it support. It kind of gives it the support. It's like, so you could have a walker or you could use a cane. This is a cane.
Yeah.
You could use, it's not going to take all of your weight and completely change it, but it's going to give you a little bit of extra support. It's a handhold to
Yeah.
get you on the right path. But the more you use it, you very rapidly begin to strengthen the feet and arches.
And so it sounds like it kind of just guides your foot in the right direction to
Yeah,
then help it strengthen itself.
exactly. We call it track because it keeps you on track.
Yeah.
It literally tracks your gait pattern, tracks your footprint.
Sound good. That'll be a interesting one to try.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm excited to get these out there. I'm very excited.
Brilliant. Yeah, that'd be good. Is there anything, not anything, I was just going to say before we go, like, did you want to share your website, your Instagram, anything you haven't mentioned? Just where can people find you basically?
At Foundation Training, Foundation Training YouTube. FT Streaming is our streaming site, ftstreaming.com, or Foundation Training in the App Store. Either one of those will work. My certification courses are pretty good. We have one coming up in about 2 weeks. The next one won't be until the end of the year, so no signups yet or anything like that. That's it. Just check out Foundation Training. It's very good for you. I hope you enjoy it.
Perfect. I'll put the links in the show notes. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed it, please do follow, subscribe, leave a rating and leave a review. And if you want some help to move better, feel better, and live a healthier lifestyle, check out movebetter.club, where you'll find my free 7-day Move Better challenge, my school community, and my new membership site, which teaches you everything you need to know to move better, feel better, and improve your health. Go to movebetter.club.